If you've ever been the person who says it's okay when it's not, who agrees just to keep the peace, who feels uncomfortable even thinking about disappointing someone, it probably doesn't look like a problem. In fact, most people would describe you as kind, easy to be around, selfless. But there's a quieter side to this pattern that doesn't get talked about because being too nice isn't always about kindness. Sometimes it's about survival. It shows up in small, almost invisible ways. You reread messages before sending them, making sure they don't sound too much. You apologize quickly even when you're not sure what you did wrong. You say yes, then feel a subtle heaviness in your chest afterward, and over time, you stop asking yourself what you actually want. Not because you don't have preferences, but because it feels safer not to have them. That's not weakness, that's protection. Somewhere along the way, your brain learned something very specific. Being liked keeps you safe, so you adapt. You become agreeable, attentive, careful with your words. You learn how to read people, their tone, their mood, their expectations. And without realizing it, you start shaping yourself around them, not consciously, but consistently. The hidden meaning behind being too nice isn't just kindness, it's a deep sensitivity to rejection, a quiet fear that if you take up too much space, if you disagree, if you show the wrong emotion, something will be taken away. Approval, connection, stability. So you minimize yourself to maintain control over how others respond to you. And here's where it gets interesting. Most people think people-pleasing is about insecurity, but the real pattern runs deeper than that. It's not just about wanting to be liked. It's about managing outcomes. When you're always agreeable, always accommodating, always easy, you reduce the risk of conflict. You reduce unpredictability. You create a version of reality that feels smoother, safer, more controllable. So in a strange way, being too nice becomes a form of control, but that control comes at a cost. Because while you're managing everyone else's experience, you slowly disconnect from your own. Your preferences get quieter. Your boundaries get blurrier. Your emotions become something you filter instead of something you feel fully. And this is where resentment begins. Not loudly, not dramatically, but subtly. You start feeling drained around people you once enjoyed. You feel unappreciated even when no one actually asked you to overextend. You feel misunderstood without ever fully expressing yourself. It builds quietly because nothing bad is happening on the surface. But internally, something feels off. Because when you're always nice, people don't always see you. They see the version of you that adapts, the version that doesn't challenge, doesn't resist, doesn't push back. And over time, that version becomes expected, not because people are trying to take advantage of you, but because you've taught them what to expect from you. And the hardest part? You might not even realize how much you've been holding in, because it doesn't feel like suppression. It feels like being a good person. But being a good person and abandoning yourself are not the same thing. And that line is easy to blur when your identity is built around being liked, around being the calm one, the understanding one, the one who doesn't cause problems. So the dark side of being too nice isn't obvious. It doesn't look like chaos or conflict. It looks like calm on the outside and quiet tension on the inside. It's the tension of unspoken thoughts, unexpressed needs, unfelt anger, not because you don't have them, but because somewhere deep down, it doesn't feel safe to show them. And once you start noticing this pattern, you begin to see it everywhere. In the way you phrase things, in the moments you stay silent, in the way you prioritize harmony over honesty. It was never random. It was learned, and that awareness doesn't suddenly change everything. But it does something more subtle. It makes the invisible visible, And once you see it, you can't unsee it. If this explains something you felt but couldn't quite name, there's more to uncover. Because understanding yourself like this is where everything quietly begins.